Hi y'all, this is Sherry and I'm back with another no chew recipe for you. Tonight we're going to do something called Greek chicken. This is a nice cozy warm recipe. It's kind of a rainy cold night here tonight, and so I wanted something that was going to kind of warm my tummy. So I had some chicken thighs already thawed out and thought this would be a good dish just to be kind of a comfort food. So we're going to go ahead and get started. It's an easy dish, not a whole lot of ingredients. And we're going to go ahead and get started on that. I've got 6 boneless, skinless chicken thighs in a baking dish. And we're just going to add a few ingredients. This is not a recipe that calls for any specific ingredients, so I'm going to just kind of pour some things on and do things eyeballing. But I will give you some general measurements. And we're just going to pour on some olive oil. I use extra virgin olive oil. You're going to put quite a bit. I would estimate that is maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup. And then we're going to add some lemon juice. This is freshly squeezed lemon juice. Again, we're just going to pour some of that on. Use lots of it. The lemon juice is going to help to make the chicken more tender too. So I would guess about 1/4 of a cup of lemon juice. I'm going to put a little bit more because I really like the taste of lemon juice. We're going to add some water to that. So there's going to be a lot of juice in this dish after we get through baking it, which you'll use some of it when we go to puree it. Now we're going to add salt. Lots of salt. And then we're going to add some ground black pepper. You can do that to taste. A little bit more. And the last thing we're going to add is oregano. And again, I'm just going to pour some on there. There's no exact measurements for this dish, but I would say this is about 2 tablespoons of leaf oregano. So that's that. We're going to put this in the oven at 360 degrees for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. You might check it after an hour, but it usually takes about 1 hour and 15 minutes. Now the chicken has come out of the oven. I took it out about 1 hour and 10 minutes. So I took it out about 5 minutes early because it looked like it was done. I wanted you to see what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. It's got quite a bit of juice on it. We're going to use some of that juice to puree it. And the rest of the juice we will just use to pour over it after it's pureed. Now, if you are not the only person in your household, this would be a good meal for other people in the household who don't have to have pureed food. You could just eat this right as it is. It's very tender. The chicken thighs are very tender and very moist. And these are going to puree very nicely too, for those of you who do need to have it pureed. So we're going to move this over to the food processor and do our puree thing to it. We've got the food processor set up and ready to put our chicken in the processor to puree it. Now I'm going to wear my ugly apron because I'm dealing with chicken that's got some grease in it, so I don't want to slop it on me. So be sure and wear an apron when you're doing this. And we're just going to put the chunks in the food processor. We may actually be able to get all of this in one rather than doing it in batches like I usually do. So let's see if we can do that. Now we're going to add some of this juice so that we can get it all pureed up nicely. But that should about do it, so I'm going to put the lid on the food processor and we're going to go ahead and puree this part up. Okay, after a little bit I'm going to take a look at it and see if it needs to be stirred down a little bit, which it does. And I'm going to add a little bit more liquid to that also. You just kind of have to look at it, see how the consistency is, and if you think you need to add more liquid, go ahead and do so. Try again. Okay, and there we have it. It's pureed up very nicely. We actually had to use almost all of the liquid that was in our chicken. And that's okay. That's okay. You won't have any extra to put on over it, but that's still okay. So I'm going to dish this up for you. I have dished up our Greek chicken, and as you can see, it doesn't look very appetizing, as most things that we puree don't. But keep in mind that when you're on a puree diet, it's not about presentation, it's about flavor. And this particular dish, I really like it because it has that Greek flavor with the lemon juice, the olive oil, and it's very tender and moist with the chicken thighs. So even though it doesn't look like chicken, it's going to taste great. And when you're on a puree diet, that's the main thing, is you have to have flavor in your diet. So I hope this is something that you can incorporate into your diet. And if you like this recipe, come back and join me for some more, because I'm going to have some other interesting recipes in the future. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again later. Bye-bye.